What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. I'm Leroy.
I'm Michael.
We're here to help you with your...
Coronavirus issues?
There you go.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out a way to say this and not be, like, flippant about it.
No, it's a serious topic.
Yeah.
We do work in a newsroom, and we,
Right.
like everybody else.
I mean, we kind of work in it. It's pretty much everybody's working from home.
But yeah, like we this business, like everybody else, has done steps to work on social distancing and people working remotely from home.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a couple of videos that we're working on, and we just want to give you guys some ideas on stuff you can watch as you're passing the time if you have to work from home or if you're practicing social distancing or whatever.
So we came up with a list. Each of us have 5 shows that we want to go over. Maybe something you either have not thought about checking out, or maybe you saw and then you forgot about it. So these are, once again, the B-sides of shows you should probably check out if you're looking for something a little different on Hulu.
Yes, we did Netflix. Now this is Hulu.
Yep. You go first, sir.
Okay. I wrote some notes this time. Actually, and I just kind of wrote the names. I was like, ooh, I forgot one.
Okay.
These are in no particular order.
All right. What's your first show, sir?
So if you guys have been watching our series of B-sides, of this part 2 now, you learned a little bit that I love a good food show in terms of food cooking and whatnot.
You like food shows? You like musicals?
Yes. I don't have a musical on here. And you told me about the musical show on Hulu. I haven't seen it yet. Oh! I got another honorable mention now. But these are my shows. It's coming to me. I'm going to start with the show, Britain's Best Home Cook.
Okay.
It is a reality competition show. And the thing that I like about BBC or just British competition shows
They're better.
over like American competition shows is the fact that all the competitors seem to genuinely like each other and they root for each other.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't get that in American reality.
You don't. The only one now, granted, I don't watch a lot of reality show or a lot of reality TV. I have been watching Lego Masters, and they do that a lot.
Okay.
They really do. They really are sad when someone goes home.
Okay, that's cool.
And they really do root for each other, and they really like each other's builds. And so it was, me and Katie were watching it, and she was like, "This is refreshing to see people enjoy each other."
Yeah. Well, it's the same type of atmosphere on Britain's Best Home Cook. The idea is they have 10 home cooks. I think it was out of 2,000 or something, but they whittle it down to 10 home cooks for the first episode, and they have a couple different rounds. Like the first round is to make your best such and such. Make one episode like make your best roast.
I might have seen something like this. Where is there one where they had to make their like a baguette? They had to make their best baguette or something like that.
I haven't gotten that episode yet. Maybe.
Oh, I remember watching something with my family. We were watching.
The judges on the show are Mary Berry of British cooking Best Baker.
Person.
Mary Berry.
I'm about to look that up.
Old charming white lady. She's just so nice. Like if I had an old white grandma, I want her to be my old white grandma. She's just
Mary
nice.
Berry.
Yeah.
Oh wow, she is real.
Yes. She's and very. You may not know her. People know her. People in the baking world. But she was like Britain's Best Baker, whatever. British Bake Off was the show. So this is a spinoff of that, Britain's Best Home Cook. She is a judge. There are 2 other judges who are like professional chefs, and they judge your dish.
There's a lot of growing things about this woman.
Yeah, she seems very nice. They judge your dish. That's the first part of the round. Then they have another round, and whoever wins that first round gets to pick what the ingredients going to be for the second round. And then from there, they kind of do 2 chefs enter, 1 chef leave, or 1 person has to go. But it's just a very nice show, very peaceful. Again, I think all the food is shot well. One thing that they don't do, and I wish they did, for more cooking shows like this, is let you know what the ingredients are that the chefs use. So if you want to make it yourself, you're like, oh, this is a cool recipe. I wish they would kind of do like a box or over the shoulder or something. This is what this person made. Here are the instructions. Now, there could be that maybe it's on the website. I haven't checked. I don't know. But just sticking straight to Hulu, there's no way to know what they made exactly. But it's just fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There are 2 seasons on YouTube, right?
Just
on Hulu.
Are there 2 seasons total, or just 2 on Hulu?
I don't know.
Okay. So there might be more, and they just hadn't been brought over.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know there's at least 2 seasons, like 8 episodes a season.
All right. Cool.
So, yeah, number 1.
All right.
Our first show.
All right. Since you went with the BBC, I'm going to do it as well. My show was called Coupling. I found this show after it had already aired. It's basically here's the tagline: 6 best friends talk about all aspects of sex and relationships on their never-ending quest to find true love. I found this show before Pirates of the Caribbean came out.
Because one of the guys is
Jack Davenport.
Yeah, I enjoy Coupling a lot.
Coupling was my show that I was just like.
Is this Russell T Davies, the guy who created it?
I'm
Is that
not
the person
sure.
who created it?
We can scroll down and look. I don't know. Why? What does that name mean?
Well, to me, Russell T Davies was the guy who first rebooted Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Like with Chris Eccleston and stuff.
Okay. I love this show because for a number of reasons. One, it shows you a slice of life for those of you who don't realize. So there are different social norms that we have here in America that they don't necessarily have, and then there are different things like how if you look at British television. Go ahead.
Stephen Moffat.
Stephen Moffat. Oh yeah.
Also a Doctor Who person, but Russell T Davies helped bring it back. Then Stephen Moffat took over, but Stephen Moffat is one who created it. There we go.
So it's funny you mentioned that because Doctor Who doesn't have a lot of violence on its show as compared to some other shows, correct?
Like the violence is a little more kid friendly.
Yes.
And very like people in big rubber masks, rubber suits and stuff. It's not intense.
It's kind of so. One of the reasons why I like the show is because Coupling talks a lot about sex and the fact of and how the innuendos that they do, which was if you look at the time that it was on the air, was pushing the envelopes of what you could do on television versus what American television is. So the way the Brits look at violence is different than way we do, and versus how they look at sex versus how we do. So it was a very interesting show that opened my eyes to like, oh, this is how different cultures, so to speak, look at relationships. I loved all the characters. Jack Davenport was my everyman who was scared of commitment, didn't understand. There was no, and this is pre-internet. This is barely cell phone. Like cell phone, like 2000.
Not
not
smartphone.
smartphone. This is like this is like Nokia territory.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed how you get to see a slice of life before where everything is modernized, and then you get to see and like some of the jokes. I'm not gonna lie, some of them were cringeworthy then, some of them were cringeworthy now. Like super, but everybody was like this likable, lovable character, and my favorite character was Jack Davenport, but I really did enjoy some of the other characters and their relationships. Go ahead.
I like Gina. The actress Gina Bellman who played Jane, I liked her a lot in the show.
Jane was also on what was that show with
Leverage?
Yes, I was trying to think. And it's so interesting hearing her accent and then not hearing it. And the woman who plays Susan, Sarah Alexander, I just really enjoyed everybody on this show. Ben Miles was so cool.
Yeah.
As Patrick, and Patrick was a Tory.
Yeah.
And just the different and how people
they would talk
up.
about their politics.
Yeah,
on the show.
and then I don't want to get too much into it, but it was just one of the things where like Sarah had dated Patrick, and the whole thing is everybody dated everybody or had some type of relationship, and they're all friends and how they all came along. But it was just so funny hearing Sarah, Susan's character and Patrick's character, and then how they talked about Patrick's member, and then they would talk about and they wouldn't say but or ass, they would say bottoms, and I just really enjoyed the show. And it was one of those shows me and Katie used to watch, and she got into it kind of begrudgingly because it would just always be on.
Yeah.
And it was so cool, honestly, to see how they would like. We would say this person's a star, this person's a star, and then they would say this person, and you're like, who is that? And then you go Google that person for them. So it was just so interesting to see, not necessarily a Friends show, but a Friends type show from a different country, and it was just a really fun show.
They tried to bring Coupling over to
and
the
did
US.
not work on NBC.
It did not work.
It did not go over well. Yeah. It was it literally was a crash and burn. So that's my BBC show. I really enjoyed it. So that's not my number one.
Okay, my second show, The Mindy Project. I like Mindy Kaling. I think she was great in The Office, and she got her own show that started on Fox. Fox canceled, I believe, and then Hulu picked it up for 2 additional seasons.
Yep.
So it kind of became a Hulu original. I think it's a great show. It's got Chris Messina. You might remember him as the Zaz from...
Katie says I am Chris Messina.
Oh, gosh.
She said, she was like, that's you.
Okay. I mean...
Like some of the mannerisms.
Yeah.
Remember how you loved The National?
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Yeah. And I can't remember everybody who's on the show.
Oh, I remember everybody.
One of the Barinholtz is either Ike.
It's Ike.
It's Ike?
The other one is on Superstore.
Yes. Okay, so it's Ike Barinholtz.
Who's also in The Hunt.
Yes. Who's the old woman? That's the nurse.
Oh, I don't know her. I know
She's great. I feel like every sitcom has like this weird and wild character like that's always... And I think a good example of that was Rose Nyland on Golden Girls in terms of that character who's kind of ditzy or just...
I didn't get that from her. I
always got like, there's always one character who just says the wildest stuff. And like they always have the best lines. I felt like, and I can't remember her name, but she was the old nurse on the show. She always had the wildest and craziest lines. I'm like, what? Great.
I really did like Mindy Kaling's show, The Mindy Project. I liked it, but I didn't like some of the things where they got rid of the receptionist and the 2 receptionists and then moved away from them in later seasons. But I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah. I think it was fun. Kind of a little backstory. Her character, Mindy Lahiri.
Yep.
Mindy Lahiri.
From Boston.
She is a hopeless romantic, and she thinks...
Oh, no, not hopeless romantic. She's past that.
Okay. She thinks that romantic comedy should happen in real life, and that's kind of how her character starts at the beginning of the show. She realizes
Still
life isn't like that.
Still that way.
Have you finished it?
Yeah.
I don't feel like she...
Yeah.
I don't feel like she's like that at the end of the show.
I will say this. I was mad with Mindy how she treated Ben.
Okay. Yeah. But I don't feel like she...
There were never any consequences for her shenanigans.
I mean, it's her show.
Yeah, true. I mean, if I had a show...
Yeah, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm not going to get in trouble. It's my show.
But I really enjoyed that show. I really liked it. I felt like there were a couple of times that like I had to pull back because there were times that there was just, she would do these things and there were no consequences for that hopeless romantic. So I didn't want people to get this idea that love is painful.
Yeah, and I think she goes through that. You bring that up as a tease to go back and watch something on Netflix. A show that I brought up was Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I was thinking about that.
She kind of has some of the same qualities of Mindy Lahiri in terms of a lot of times there aren't repercussions for her a lot, but as the show goes, then this is for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. As the show goes on, she kind of learns from that and repercussions happen. It's just, it takes a while for those repercussions to happen on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I really like Mindy Kaling. I love when Fortune Feimster showed up with her brother.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillahunt. Because the guy who played, I'm trying to remember what his name on the show is. But the character, his real name is, last name is Dillahunt, I believe. Garrett
Dillahunt, yeah.
Yeah, Garrett Dillahunt.
Because he's married to Michelle Hurd.
The funniest thing about that is, I have seen him on so many other shows, and the fact that his character is so different from everything else.
Yeah.
First time I remember seeing him was on Law & Order. He played a lawyer for a racist. And I was like, oh, he was good. He was a lawyer on Law & Order, the original Law & Order, for a kid who was accused of killing a Jewish kid. And when I mean he was good where you were like, he's right, but I don't want to give it to him.
Right.
And then he was on another show where he was so different. It was
Raising Hope?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so his
he's
range
he does everything.
was amazing. So
he was in Burn Notice as a ex-spy /
See, I didn't get
sociopath.
that far. I didn't get that far in Burn Notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, the characters on this show.
He's in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Didn't finish that.
Okay, well, there you go.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this show, and this show made me like Chris Messina.
Okay.
Because if you don't remember, Chris Messina was also the son of Jane Fonda and the Newsroom.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I hated him. Ooh, I hated him. But in this show, partially because Katie was like, "That's you," and I really enjoyed the show. I really did. I thought it was a pretty good show. So good pick.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So we're doing happy shows. My show is Better Off Ted.
That's a fun show.
Excuse me.
That was a fun show.
That's a show that was not given its due. ABC, my hat is off to you for attempting a show, imagine an evil corporation, but it's fun to work at.
It's like, hey.
I thought you were going to say it's like working here.
No, I wasn't going to say that at all. But no, I was going to say, imagine it's like Disney always is like the evil empire is what they call it now, right? Mm-hmm. They like kind of makes fun of Disney, which is funny that ABC did to the show. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I really enjoyed it. Better Off Ted is basically about this guy named Ted. He's an executive. He has a team of researchers, and they attempt to make these brand new projects. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. Mm-hmm. Ted is a single parent. There's a woman at his job that he has a crush on, and they have that will they, won't they vibe.
Is that Portia's character?
No, Portia's his boss.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Portia de Rossi. Is it De or De Rossi?
I don't know.
I will say this. That woman is a treasure. National treasure.
She's great.
You thought she was great in Arrested Development? She's even better in this.
She is, yes.
Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you enough. The scientists, Phil and Lim, are hilarious. Like, everybody on this show brings their A game. Mm-hmm. It only lasted 3 seasons. The 3rd season feels a little rushed because they were wrapping it up. But those first 2 seasons, man, were great. The way they deal with the way the company works, the hijinks that they get into, it's just a really fun show. And it really is where you can just sit down, watch a couple of episodes, and just kind of veg out. And it really was. And I'm really upset that the lead actor, that a lot of the people who were on the show didn't really blow up or go on to do other big things.
I feel like it's just Portia.
Yeah, well, she was big before because she was on Arrested Development. But it just really, I really wish it had gotten picked up. And I really miss that type of show, that kind of hijinks. But it does kind of remind me of, you really liked it, 30 Rock. Mm-hmm. The banter, the characters, all the stuff that happens. So my show is Better Off Ted. Okay.
I'm going to go with my 3rd show. Mm-hmm. It was originally on IFC. It only has 1 season. Hopefully my love will spread to you guys and more people will watch it. So it'll get another season. It's called Sherman's Showcase.
I saw you tweet about this. Yes. And I went to look for it and I couldn't find it.
I don't know how I found it. And hats off to Hulu for their algorithm. Like, hey, you may like this, because they were right. I love this show. Mm-hmm. It must have happened. It had to have happened during February, Black History Month. Mm-hmm. And, Hulu had like a little tab for like, here are shows by like black creators or something like that.
Here's some Negroes you should watch.
Basically. The show popped up, Sherman Showcase. And the premise behind it is, you remember how like infomercials would be like, 70 Soul.
Yeah.
And like you can buy all these CDs or whatever.
Yeah.
The idea is that it's an infomercial about a show called Sherman Showcase. And the thing is, I always say, you can get a partially complete set of the 23-volume Sherman Showcase right here. That's how it always starts for whatever, $19.99. And
a month or just total?
Total.
Okay.
Yeah, you buy it, whatever. But the joke is the set is complete or whatever. And it starts like that. And Sherman Showcase was...
Like Soul Train?
Yes. Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, I just guessed.
Yeah, essentially it's like Soul Train.
Go on.
And the guy who hosts, his name is Sherman. Mm-hmm. And it was a show that lasted in the maybe 60s all the way up until now because his dad did the show as well. And it's a sketch show / woke show because it talks about some real stuff as well.
And you like it over the Astronomy Club.
I do. I like it a lot over the Astronomy Club. It was created by Diallo Riddle, might be Rydell, I don't know, and Bashir Salahuddin. Mm-hmm. Bashir, I want to say, who's this? I want to get the face of the person. Yeah. Bashir, you may not know his name, but you've probably seen him.
He's the bad guy from Superstore. He's the preacher.
I don't know if he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. He stole the money from Glenn.
I mean,
he stole money from Glenn in Superstore so that Myrtle could go to heaven.
Don't you want Myrtle to go to heaven?
She's not going because she gave money to him.
You don't know that she's not.
I can bet money on it.
You don't know that they're mutually exclusive.
When I get there, I will look for Myrtle.
But yes,
he's a bad guy. Yeah, I know he is.
He is also on Glow. I don't know if you saw Glow yet. Have you seen Glow on Netflix? The wrestling show?
No, I had not watched Glow.
He is He's on that show as well.
Okay.
I think he's fantastic.
Oh, he's also the if you guys watch Single Parents, he's the ex-husband of Poppy's character.
Oh, okay. There you go. Great guy. I think it's hilarious. And Diallo Riddle, they write these comedy musical songs. They're able to team up with, I don't know how they got this to work, but John Legend is an executive producer for the show, so that kind of gives it a little more clout. There are guest cameo appearances from John Legend, Quincy Jones, Neo.
He have a hat on?
No, but he has on a wig.
He needs a hat.
He has a wig because he's playing somebody else.
Neo has a huge forehead.
Well, the wig covers it up.
Man, friend of the show, Neo.
Yeah, but this show, it's funny, man.
He
the
was
premises,
also in your show. Remember, he dated Mindy Kaling for a little while.
Oh yeah. It's just a funny show.
Okay.
That's all I can say. You got to check it out. I'm not doing it justice, but I think it's great.
Okay.
You'll know by the first episode whether or not you're hooked or not.
I like that you picked a quirky show.
Okay, they have a sketch called Temptations 11, based off of Ocean's 11, and it's like all the old Motown people trying to pull one over on Berry Gordy for stealing all their money. It's great.
Oh, now I want to watch it.
It's really good.
You weren't selling me because I don't like him.
Yeah,
because every
Temptations
time
11.
I see him,
Yeah.
he's always a bad guy, and so I'm like, all I can think of is him stealing money from Glenn.
Yeah.
Because there was an episode on Superstore. If you guys watch it, he's the guy, the preacher.
He's the preacher.
Who keeps coming in and keeps pulling these shenanigans, and Glenn keeps sticking up for him, and they're like, "Stop giving your money to him."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's my show.
that's your third show. My third show is another funny show. I'm kind of following you, piggybacking on. My show's the Carmichael Show.
That was a fun show.
Man.
So that's on Hulu now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
that's probably on a bunch of places, right?
That's how I watched it.
Because I think I watched it.
I watched it when it was on. And they were like, so when it was on NBC, that was when NBC was still putting their shows on Hulu. And we would watch it on the weekend.
Okay.
So we would watch it when it come on. And one of our former coworkers, Corey, and a couple of us, Chris Brathwaite, we used to watch the show and we would talk about it and of the things because the Carmichael Show it's funny.
But it hit on stuff.
There were some shows we argued over, like, because so you have Gerard Carmichael, Tiffany Haddish on the show, Lil Rel Howie, is it Howie or Howie?
I don't know.
David Allen Greer, and
Loretta Devine.
I was trying to remember her name, and Loretta Devine. Gerard what?
His girlfriend.
I don't remember her name, and I was about to ask you.
And you know why that sucks?
Why?
Because we treated her just like they treat her on that show.
Oh,
man!
Nadine.
Now we need to say that woman's name because we're treating her just like she is on that show.
All I know is her name is Nadine.
Yes, she got dogged on that show.
Oh my gosh, I felt bad for her. Now, granted, sometimes she brought that stuff on herself.
I won't disagree.
So Gerard, the Carmichael Show is Gerard Carmichael is he's the youngest, right? Or is he the oldest? He's him.
Amber Stevens West.
Yes. He's the brother of Lil Rel Howie.
Yes.
Lil Rel, Bobby's married to Tiffany Haddish. They're separated. His parents are David Allen Greer, Joe, and Cynthia. They live in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is hilarious. If you didn't watch it when it was on, they literally were topical. So you would have things like where officer-involved shootings. You would have things like sexuality, dating, ageism. You name it, they talked about race. And it wasn't that they always had like some edgy topic that they talked about, but they talked about real issues that happen in real families. The episode that really got me was when David Allen Greer had the heart attack, and they were trying to get him to change his diet. And that kind of hit home for me because as black people, sometimes our diet is not the best.
Right.
And especially when you look at some of the food that we eat, high blood pressure, diabetes, they did not hold back. And the topics that they hit on, I was like, oh, you going there? Oh, Gerard's didn't always pick the sides you would think the TV show would, like, I was shocked with some of the takes that he had.
And the thing that I like is, they would pick a side, and at least from my standpoint, I never thought they were trying to say this is the right side.
Yes.
I always thought they would show multiple sides and let you pick for yourself, which was great.
But let the audience decide.
Yeah, they were like, here's a side, here's another side. We don't know the answer. We're just telling you the different multiple sides.
I'm not gonna lie.
I thought it was cool.
I was my family was upset because we all watched it.
Mm-hmm.
My friends were upset when this got canceled and then they brought in Marlon. I'm not knocking Marlon Wayans. You have whatever show you want.
Marlon is not hitting the way
and
Carmichael show was.
Friend of the show, Marlon Wayans.
Yep.
When we get the interview, we'll talk about that.
And who was his wife on that? Essence Atkins?
I don't know. I didn't even get a chance. I was so upset.
Yeah.
But I really loved this show. I thought Lil Rel, Bobby was hilarious.
Yeah.
And Bobby reminds me of somebody.
Revelations in this video, y'all. Man.
It just hit me.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
It just hit me. I was like,
I didn't know you were famous.
oh, it just hit me. But sorry. The show was great. It only lasted 2 to 3 seasons. I want to say 2. Mm-hmm. The way it ended, it didn't really have a season finale. It just kind of ended.
Yeah.
But it really was a great show. Everybody really stepped up. It was Maxine, not Nadine.
See, we didn't even get her name right.
Man.
I didn't even correct her. Like, yeah, Nadine, that's right.
Because it sounded. Oh man, I will say this. Amber Stevens West was hilarious. Man, she took a lot of punishment. Her character did. But everybody on it was great. I will say this. Tiffany Haddish, this was probably some of her best work, in my opinion. I really liked the way she I know Tiffany Haddish always plays a ratchet character at times and is a little over the top. But I really felt like she was really good in this show, and they gave her a lot to work with.
Yeah.
And Gerard was the best one. Gerard, it was his show. I'm quite sure he had a lot to do with it. But the reason why this show worked was David Alan Grier and Loretta Devine.
Oh, yeah.
They were the heart of the show because we all have parents who were a little older, obviously, because they wouldn't be your parents if they were younger. But it really was this whole generation divide at times where Gerard would try to reach out to his parents and his parents would have these ideas in their head of how things should be. Mm-hmm. And Gerard was like, that's not how things are or need to be. And so I really love that dynamic. So that's my third pick was the Carmichael show.
Okay.
Shout out to Gerard Carmichael. Also, his stand-up special is on HBO. If you have HBO now or go, check it out. He's gonna push your buttons. He's not gonna say the things you want to hear, but his comedy, if you like the show, check out his comedy. Because it's very much like that.
My fourth show is Forged in Fire.
Never heard of this.
It is another reality competition show.
Oh, is this where they make the swords and the knives and
yes!
stuff? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's what...
I never know the name of it. I just see it on and I just leave it on.
I think the original source is the History Channel.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu now. They got a bunch of seasons up there. Maybe 10 episodes or so a season, so you can watch a lot of it. But these master knife makers and forge welders and
blacksmiths.
Yeah. The first round starts with them making some sort of knife. It has a certain amount of dimensions. Mm-hmm. Like I learned so many words in terms of fullers and tangs and jack and Bowie knives. Like, oh, interesting, great. But they make a knife, and then 3 judges will, determine who goes on out of 4 people. They cut somebody down each round or whatever. And the first thing you do is you make a knife. It doesn't have to be a complete knife. You're just making like the metal piece of it. Whoever gets kicked off goes away, and the next round is you have to put a handle to the knife. Then from there, they will actually test the knife to see how it works in terms of like a stab test, a sharpness test, other kinds of tests or whatever. Then somebody else goes away. Then
stab tests.
There we go. Then it's down to 2 people, and then instead of making a knife, they make this really awesome, elaborate, and ornate sword or some type of bladed weapon.
They made a broadsword.
Yeah, they make every episode is a different
weapon.
Some type of weapon. Yeah, it's very cool. And the work that they put into stuff is wild. They have people from all over the country. I want to say somebody from South Carolina was on an episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think they won, but they were on the episode. I think they made it to the finals. I can't remember.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Great show. It's fun. The people, and I'm realizing this about myself now, in terms of reality competition shows, I think I like the ones where the contestants get along and don't try to fight each other, and they root each other on. I like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my fourth show.
That's your fourth show?
Yeah.
My fourth show is not about getting along. My fourth show is The Shield. Whoa! Big Mackey, baby. I caught this show as a fluke. It first came out, the first season, and I loved Vic Mackey. Not Vic Mackey.
Chickless.
Michael Chiklis. Yeah. I loved him when he had hair and he was on The Commish. I loved the show The Commish. I remember when it came out. I remember when it came on, and I was just like, who is this man and why is he so lovable? He is not that dude. Woo, Big Mackey. If you have a predisposition to think that police officers are in a gang, this show confirms it. Holy cow. Big Mackey is the head of an elite task force that has 4 members. Mm-hmm. The first episode, he kills the newest person on task force.
Jeez.
First episode, out the gate.
Jeez.
And basically the whole season, the whole show ties back to that first thing they did.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong, they still do their job. They're cops, but they take money on the side.
Oh, these are not squeaky clean cops.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Oh no. And so these guys literally are doing their job, trying to clean up the streets while taking a cut.
Okay.
They work with some other members of the police force. There are a lot of great people on this show. I cannot. It's amazing how well this show is made, and it looks low when you watch it. It looks low budget to a certain extent when it first came out.
Well, was this like 16:9? When did this come out?
This was.
I feel like this is older.
On FX when it came out. It was 2002 to 2008. 7 seasons.
I feel like you weren't necessarily HD at that time when
no.
it first came out. Yeah.
And remember, this is FX, so like it had that low quality, like that gritty feel to it. Mm-hmm. It reminds you of like what Sons of Anarchy was before.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, one of the original creators from Sons of Anarchy is Sean Ryan. But I want to say some of the people from Sons of Anarchy were involved in this show as well.
Okay.
So
Walton Goggins is on.
Yes.
This? Okay.
So this is where Walton Goggins is Michael Chiklis's or Vic Mackey's right hand man.
Okay.
Then you have so David Acevedo was the police chief, okay, or the police captain of the unit. CCH Pounder as Claudette was amazing. There's another guy on here. So now I do want to tell you, because you'll see it later, one of the characters who's on the show goes to jail for murder in real life, I believe, Michael Jace. I don't know if you remember, he had a run-in with the law, and I think it was murder. I want to...
Maybe you should look that up.
I want to say it was murder.
You can look it up. You got a computer.
I
That's a big thing to say, to just say, I think it is. You can look it up.
Did I say Michael Jace?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say Michael Jace killed a person. Yep, convicted murder. Yeah, okay. I thought it was a very weird thing, because it was like, I love the Shield. Yeah, but there is a guy who really is a murderer.
Okay.
One of the greatest things about the show was, so Vic Mackey was this guy who they knew was dirty. They needed him because he always got the job done, but they knew he was dirty, and it's almost like making a deal with the devil. As the show went on later in seasons, there were so many people brought in to clean up this neighborhood and this area that they were in, who then tried to get Vic Mackey. So Glenn Close was on the show.
Okay.
Forrest Whitaker was on the show. And all of these people would try to come in and either bring down Vic Mackey, or they were police captains after David Acevedo left, and then they would have to make deals with Vic Mackey because he was so powerful and he had so much pull and could get away with so much.
Okay.
The last season was like the last 2 seasons, because basically they're a unit, they're a team. These guys, Walton Goggins, Shane. And then when the heat is on, what happens when you guys are like this?
Right.
What happens when the heat comes? And when you start taking pot shots at the team, it was amazing television.
Okay.
I had never seen a show handle not just what happens to these police officers, what happens to the community around them. Vic Mackey, Michael Chiklis' wife, was a nurse, so there were times when there'd be a police-involved shooting that you would see her involved with it. It was very much a family. They were all a family, but what happens when one of your family members is dirty? I cannot stress enough, I love this show.
Okay.
It was a really good show. Sean Ryan, which is funny because Sean Ryan was the showrunner behind this show, but he also was behind another show that just really did not, it just blew me out of the water. Remember when Don Johnson did the Nash show?
Yeah.
That's Sean Ryan.
Oh,
same, like, you're like, what?
Cool.
So it was so interesting. So yeah, I wanted to
Nash Bridges?
Yes, Nash
Detective
Bridges.
Nash Bridges.
Jay Carnes, he plays Holland Wagenbach. He did a great job on this show. I cannot stress enough how him and CCH Pounder, they magnifique.
One of these, you're going to get that word right.
Keep messing it up.
Okay, cool.
It's interesting to hear me mingle two languages.
Okay. So this is my last show. And this could be a weird show.
Oh Lord, this is gonna be an anime, I bet.
It is an anime.
I knew it.
It is called Food Wars. Now, folks, we're all adults here. These shows aren't necessarily for kids.
None of mine are. Well, wait.
Probably not.
The car? No.
I mean, I think
none of mine.
I think kids can watch Britain's Best Home Cook and Forge and Fire and be fine.
Yeah.
For my shows. Food Wars, you may want to let your kids watch it. I don't know. So let's have a little real talk for a second. You have hentai, which is anime geared towards
tentacle porn.
Yeah, or like perversions or stuff like that. Things that are considered taboo.
Yorosuko Doji.
Yeah, there's a
Legend of the Overfiend.
La Blue Girl. Whatever.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now there's another thing called, and it's ECCHI, and I think it's Ektai or Ektai. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's not perversion so much as just maybe people that are playful sexually or promiscuity. So it's not as intense as hentai is, but
it goes right up to that line.
Well, I don't even think it goes up to the line, but a lot of times you might have people in scantily clad clothes.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like every murder in the beginning of a CSI.
Kind of, yeah. You will have girls in bikinis, and you will have people that are naked, but they're always covered by stuff. Mm-hmm. The idea follows this guy named a 13-year-old kid named Soma Yukihira.
Oh, of course, it's a 13-year-old boy.
Well, I mean, it's like a shonen manga, because it's a manga thing or whatever. So they're always kids doing whatever. Mm-hmm. You follow this kid named Soma Yukihira, who just wants to be the best chef in the world. His dad is a great chef and has taught him since he was like 2 or 3, since he could first walk, how to cook. His dad decides to shut down their homemade restaurant to go search and work and do more recipes. He sends his kid off to this cooking culinary boarder school. It's the best cooking culinary boarding school in the world. Everybody wants to go here.
Already it sounds weird. So he closed down the restaurant.
Yeah.
But still had enough money to send his kid to a boarding school.
Well, you figure, I mean, you're like, how does this work? You have to
okay.
Yeah, the show explains that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It's stuff's connected.
I take back my criticism.
Yeah. And while he meets an eclectic class of people, different students all want to challenge him.
Challenge him like Pokemon challenge him? Or like,
challenge him
I challenge you to food.
Well, the whole thing is called Food Wars, and the idea is you can challenge people to a food war. And what it is, you have to make this dish. Whoever makes the best dish wins, and there are certain stipulations to...
What do you win?
It depends on what you challenge in the food war.
Oh.
There's a thing called the Elite Council of 10, which are like the 10 best students in the class or in the school. And they're so powerful that the teachers respond to them, which is kind of like, okay, but that's how much weight is put on being on the Elite Council of 10.
We need an Elite Council of 10 here.
Yeah.
I'd still be on that.
It's based, like the age range is 13, 14. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these kids, everybody, he's arrogant, but he's not arrogant so much that you don't like him.
But he's not like Anakin arrogant.
No, like he has I don't feel like he has a chip on his shoulder. He just knows he can cook, and he can. So people are always trying to challenge him because he's an outsider coming into the school. Everybody else, for the most part, went to the middle school version of that school and then went to high school, to the high school version. He just transferred in. And like, you're an outsider student? You think you can cook like us? It's great.
Okay.
So it's kind of set up like, you know how, you never watched Dragon Ball, right?
No.
But you got the premise of they would always charge up and fight.
Super Saiyan.
Yeah, any show like a Naruto or a Bleach or a Dragon Ball, where you always fight one person stronger to the main hero always fights another person who's a little bit stronger. It's the same thing in here, but it's just done in a cooking setting. It's like, this chef is better than this chef. This chef is better than this chef. It's wild. It's intense. There are people who get naked. Now everything's covered up, but the idea is that the food is so good that the only way they know how to express themselves is by taking off their clothes, because they don't know any other emotion. The food is so good that they lose their minds. You need to see the first episode. Y'all, it's a wild show, but I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic show. Food Wars. 2 seasons, both subbed and dubbed. And let's be honest, if you're watching anime, you should probably do it dubbed. Nope, sorry, I take that back. Well, do it subbed. 2 seasons are on Hulu, and I think you can watch the current season on Crunchyroll right now.
I don't even know what you just suggested.
It's a great show, but it's probably not for kids. Watch it first to see if your kid can handle it. There isn't nudity, but there are people who are naked, covered by foods and stuff and whatever. Busting out of clothes.
Just blew my mind.
There you go.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, my show's probably tame compared to that.
Could be.
My last show is probably the best show out there, in my opinion. Nip Tuck. I discovered Nip Tuck through a friend of mine. She was like, you need to watch this show. And I was like, you need to shut up. And because I was like, don't you recommend shows to me? You don't know me.
But she knew you, huh?
Man, did she? Ooh, I was mad.
She knew you.
Oh, I was mad. And the thing is, I was mad because I was like, this is the second time you've done this. Like, you know, like with somebody, you're like, you think I don't
You need to stop doubting her. That's on you at this point.
So, the show is Nip Tuck. The show stars, the show is about Sean McNamara and Dr. Christian Troy. They're plastic surgeons in Miami. The whole idea behind the show is, they sit down, so they're plastic surgeons and they sit you down and they sit down together usually and they say, so tell me what you don't like about yourself. And the people that they interview to do the surgery tell them, hey, I don't like this or I don't like that. And they do the plastic surgeries. The dynamic comes in that Christian Troy and Sean McNamara were friends in college. They left college, got through medical school, and they decided to have their own practice. The hijinks that they get into through family, because they are family. They're not brothers, but they're basically like brothers.
Yeah.
Sean McNamara's character is played by Dylan Walsh, is a family man, whereas Christian Troy,
played by Dr. Doom.
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Is not a family man. This is the best way I can explain it to you. You like Bad Boys, right?
I do.
Imagine if Bad Boys was about the two characters didn't become cops, they became plastic surgeons.
Okay.
So Christian Troy is Mike Lowry.
Okay.
And short little fat guy, Martin, is Dylan Walsh's character.
Marcus Burnett?
Yeah, I couldn't remember what his name was. Is Sean McNamara. With the whole wife, kids, and all that. So that's basically the show. They get into so many different hijinks that it's just like, what the hell is going on? There's a lot of twists and turns. The one thing I loved about this show, and which I can honestly say that this show did, was kind of on the forefront. Really taught me a lot about not just plastic surgery in general and how people and how they see themselves and why they want to improve themselves. This is not a kid's show, but it introduced things that made me realize and see things differently in sense of like heterosexual and homosexual relationships, family, how a husband and wife interacts with each other. This was the show. Station Agent was the first movie I remember seeing Peter Dinklage in. But this was a show that I was like, Peter Dinklage is freaking amazing. Like, I knew he was great from this show. Because Peter Dinklage shows up and you're like, okay, this is real. I'm not going to lie to you. This show really introduced me and made me understand what being transgender is, why that's important, and what some of these people go through when they go through their transitions.
Okay.
This show, I cannot talk enough about this show. This show is amazing. You mentioned Dr. Doom. The reason why Julian McMahon was cast as Dr. Doom was because of this show.
Okay.
So a lot of people, and I got in a discussion with one of my friends when he was like, he was the best person for Dr. Doom. Yeah, if you watch Nip Tuck. You understand why, but if you just saw him as Dr. Doom in the Fantastic Four movie, you didn't get it.
Okay.
Because he is basically your modern day version of someone, you talk about arrogant in Food Wars. This is a man who is, like, when I tell you amazing characters as far as like a ladies' man, and as self-destructive and as dangerous as anybody I've ever seen, Christian Troy is. The first episode, hats off to Kelly Carlson too as Kimber. Whew. Let me set up the first episode. Christian Troy goes to a bar. Kimber's there. They have their little tete-a-tete. They sleep together. Kimber realizes he's a plastic surgeon, and she's like, you know, what would you, and they go through this whole thing of, she's like, I'm perfect. And he's like, no, you're not. And he takes a lipstick or pen and literally starts drawing all of her flaws on her body. First episode. I'm like, now don't get me wrong. As a person, doesn't matter what sex you are, Kelly Carlson is beautiful. To have the arrogance to say, you're maybe, I don't know, because he does not tell her she's a 10. I think he says she's a 7. And he's like, just cuts her up. It's an amazing show. The things that they get into, I'm shocked that Scientology didn't shut this show down. Because they get into that. They get it. I mean, you name it. They get into drug dealers. They get into medical malpractice, racism. You name it. It happens on this show. This show it's one of my all-time favorite shows.
And it was created by Ryan Murphy, who gave us all the American Horror Story stuff.
There's that. Picket Fences.
Glee.
And
Scream Queens.
Scream Queens and what's the show? The kid president show on Netflix, where the guy wants to run for student body president. That has Gwyneth Paltrow. Politician. The politician. Okay. Yes. So Ryan Murphy. Whoo. So I'm honestly, one of my friends that I recommended it to her, and she's like, it's her favorite show of all time. And when she found out we were talking about it, she was like, oh my gosh, Nip Tuck is on Hulu the entire season. She's now going back through, rewatching the whole show, and I'm honestly probably going to do the same. I'm actually going to make Katie watch it because I'm just like, you have, like, this show is amazing television. It pushes the boundaries of what you can and can't get away with, what you can and can't say, and every character on this show, to me, people are like, Breaking Bad was the best show on television. Nip Tuck is for me. It really is. And you see some characters that you're just like, man. I'm going to go watch Nip Tuck after this. I'm done.
I do have an honorable mention.
Oh, yeah.
There's a show that lasted 3 seasons. It was on ABC. It was called Speechless. It follows...
Oh, yeah.
You know this one? Yeah. It has Minnie Driver as a star, who I think should have won some sort of award for her role as the mom on this show. She was great. She's
very underrated.
She is. She was fantastic in the show. It's a comedy. It's about a family who has a child who is nonverbal and also confined to...
a wheelchair.
Yeah, a chair, some sort of chair, like either a motorized chair or whatever.
And one of the guys from Reno 911 is on it, isn't he? The black guy?
Yeah. He plays his speech translator. Yeah, Cedric Yarborough.
Is it Cedric or Cedric?
See, I thought I heard him say Cedric one
I
time.
don't know. I'm asking because y'all know I butcher names.
Yeah, I always thought I heard him say Cedric one time, so that's why I said Cedric instead of Cedric. But I think it's a fun show, and I think this show got recognized for
its portrayal of people with disabilities.
right because what the kid, and I can't even think of what his name is now, but it never pokes fun of somebody for having a disability or anything like that. It kind of goes through typical things that a family that has a kid with disabilities might go, with the things they might go through. I think it was a great show.
It didn't, and what I heard about the show was it didn't elevate him to be like some type of savant, like they do with a lot of kids with autism, and they showed like a real portrayal of what it is to have disabilities and to interact with the world around.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is from an able-bodied person, so I can't say from somebody who isn't able-bodied, but it seems to be a fairly accurate portrayal. Somebody else who was dealing with that would have to say for sure. I think it was a good show. They hit about a lot of tropes about that, about, oh, we need to treat this person differently because you're like this. And they're like, no, he's just a kid. He has some stuff happen to him, but he's still a kid who does whatever. Fun show.
Cool.
Yeah.
My honorable mention is a show that just wrapped up last year. It's Preacher. It used to be a graphic novel. It's produced by Seth Rogen. The premise is that there's a preacher named Jesse who is imbued with the power of God. And he realizes God has left heaven. And he's on a mission to make God go back to heaven.
It's a wild show.
Oh, man.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ruth Nega. Is it Nega or Nega?
I don't know how you pronounce friend of the show. Tell us how you pronounce your last name.
That woman was robbed of whatever award she should have gotten for that show. As Violet, she is honestly, her and Cassidy are my two favorite characters. Oh, there's also an Irish vampire on the show.
Because why not? Yeah.
It's not for this. Man, I was about to say it's not for kids. None of my shows
None
are
of your
for
shows
kids.
for kids. This definitely ain't for kids.
This will challenge your perception of heaven and hell and what is good and what is evil. I really liked it. It wrapped up. I cannot stress enough. Dominic Cooper, Ruth Nega, and those are. I'm trying to remember what Cassidy's name is. I don't know, but whoo, go check it out. Preacher. All this episodes are on there.
Okay, so those are our picks. 5 each and an honorable mention apiece. Like, comment, subscribe on this video. We're going to continue to put out more...
the B-sides.
Yeah, more B-sides for different streaming platforms. We're going to do Amazon Prime, I guess. I'm going to have to pick some stuff because I don't know Amazon Prime that well. But I've seen some stuff on there.
Amazon, fix your user interface. It sucks.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't use Amazon Prime. That stuff.
Jeff Bezos, get on it.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Yes. Yes. Fix your platform, friend of the show.
Son, you know what's going to blow my mind one day? Somebody is going to see this and is going to ask us, hey man, remember when you said that thing about my head? Neo?
You said that. Friend of the show, I didn't say that. He said that.
The internet said it too.
Yeah.
I mean, Neo, we got the same, my hairline starts about
Find us here on YouTube, also Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTX.com.
How big is that?
We out.
Neo's got a bigger head than I do though.